Hi everyone, and welcome to And So On. My name is Lisa, and today is a knitting day. I can't believe it, but it's actually been 2 months since my last knitting podcast. I've done a couple of fiber-related videos since then. I did one on free crochet patterns. I did one on lining a knit bag, but I haven't updated you on my projects. And I have 4 finished objects, a bunch of whips, no acquisitions aside from what I got in order to start my whips, but I do have a ton to show you, and it's actually a lot of garments because of course summer garments are so much faster because no one is getting stuck on Sleeve Island. Okay, so I have my laptop or my iPad here and my glasses because I am of that age where one needs glasses to be comfortable. And I have my Ravelry Project page up here. So I'm gonna link that below. So any of the patterns that I'm talking about, just click on my Ravelry Project page and you will see all of these projects with varying levels of notes, etc. But I'm pretty sure that I always put in what yarn I'm using, and I think pretty much always, as long as I've already started it, what the needle size is. Okay, let me start by telling you what I'm wearing. This is the staple linen top by Joji Locatelli. I made it in a knit crate yarn last year. I don't wear this as much as I thought I would. I think if I'm making a summer top, it needs to be of a looser gauge and a lighter fabric. A combination of those, or at least one or the other. I find this quite warm for summer. I also don't like where the armhole hits me. It's a little bit higher than I want it to be. And I'm not even positive about the color on me. It's a little orangey. I like it to look at. I just don't know if it's flattering for me. Anyway, it does not get out of the closet all that often, but I thought I'll put it on today. And I am quite comfortable sitting here right now, but I do have the air conditioning on, so. Okay, first finished object. You'll remember last time I was doing a test for Sari Nordland, and this is the Sunset Camisole. And so this is done in, what is this done in? Lana Grossa Linea Pura Solo Lino. And colorway number 2. So I absolutely love this. I'll put in some pictures of me wearing it so you can see. It is very light. This is something that absolutely you can wear in summer. It's super light, super flowy. The only thing is I need to add some elastic because the straps have stretched out just a bit, enough so that it kind of makes me a little bit uncomfortable, and also the armholes dip down. So I'm actually gonna add elastic all the way through both sides, and I think that that will help. But look at this, such a pretty little ruffle. I did make one little mistake in that you're supposed to start the ruffle right from the edge, and I'm like in maybe 1.5 stitches for where I picked up. And so my ruffle doesn't go all the way to the edge. I don't think it's noticeable when I'm wearing it. And the way the pattern is written, you're picking up one along here, but then more along there. So you end up with more of a ruffle at the bottom than at the top. Again, I don't think it's really noticeable. I also made my ruffle a little bit shorter than what was recommended. 10 centimeters was recommended, and I think I did 8. Because when I was looking at the tester photos, for me, the ones that were longer ruffle, I actually didn't like as much. But I made it full length. It has a folded hem, which is the first time I had done that, and I really love that finish. You'll see I use it again. The back is just plain. I think that you could easily just use this as a tank pattern and be really, really happy without even adding the ruffle. But the ruffle is such a sweet detail. So I think that once I get some elastic into the straps of this, I'm gonna wear it a lot more often. Also, I don't have this hung up in my closet or anything. I just did it to show you guys better. Okay, next I had an idea for a white linen a white linen tube top in the Sandnesgarn Lena, and I couldn't find a pattern that I loved, and I found a couple of tube top patterns, but I just thought, do I really want to pay for a tube top? Like it just seemed like something that I didn't need to pay for, that I could kind of figure out myself. So I used a pattern, and I don't even remember which one now, just to figure out like the circumference. And if you look at my project page, I've given the exact notes on how I came up with this and how I did it. But basically what I did was I cast on at the top. I did, oh here, you know what, I can read it to you, 1 second. Okay, so I've looked it up. I cast on 164 stitches on 4mm needles. I knit for 3 centimeters, and then I did a purl row in order to be able to create this folded over, just like doing a fold over hem, except I did it at the top instead of the bottom. And I chose that amount based on my elastic, okay? So I'll tell you about the elastic later. But I did that, and then I knit down 10 centimeters, and then I started to reduce a little bit just to bring it in a tad, not too much. I think I did about 4 rounds of decrease rows. And then I did another 30 centimeters to get to the bottom. And then I did another 2 centimeters with a purl bump row. And then I just sewed it up along the edge. And then I sewed up the top edge as if it were a bottom hem, but I left a space like this. And if you're a sewist, you know how this goes. I then took a safety pin, attached it to my elastic, fed it all the way through, and I've kept this open so I could show you. And then I just sew the 2 ends together and then put the rest of it down, and there you go, tube top. Now, the only thing is that I do feel like the decreases are very visible in this linen, and it's fine because at least it shows me where I need to position the top so that those are under my arms. I'll put in some pictures of me wearing it. I love this little top. I've worn it. Actually, I'll put a little video that I did as well because I wore it with some flowy pants. The way I look at this is it's something that I can wear with anything. It's very light. It's very breathable. I like the little strapless look. I do wear a bra under it. I wear a very light, non-padded strapless bra. I could get away with that at home. I don't think that I would wear a white. No, I wouldn't wear it outside without a bra, personally. But I do think that it's a very flexible garment, and I'm really pleased with this. My first thing that I have really completely designed, quote unquote, on my own in knitting. And so that was a nice little accomplishment. So then, of course, some test knits came up. You know me and the test knits. And a test knit came up for the Juno top by Inez Oliveira. And I had talked about her in the past with the Melides dress that I absolutely loved in the pure silk. And this top came up, and I'll put in a picture that she had put on Instagram, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's gorgeous. That I thought it's unlike most other things that you see out there. It has a very, very cool stitch that she's created to create this ribbing, and I put in to test it, and I got it. So let me show you. Here we go. That's backwards. Okay. So this is the top. You can see that it has darts in the front. These are the darts. That's the texture you're seeing there. There are darts in the front. I did the full length. There's a crop length, and I did the short sleeves, and I even did it slightly shorter than what she said in the pattern. And you can see this really cool stitch. I've actually never seen a stitch like this before. Like, the way the stitch is created is different than anything I've ever done in knitting. I can't tell you what it is because it's a paid for pattern, obviously. But if you like texture and you like all over texture, I think you might find this really, really interesting. I also added elastic around the edge, which made it, feel very secure. I don't at all worry that this is gonna fall down. I'll put in some pictures of me wearing it. And yeah, it's really cute. Again, I haven't worn this because I literally just finished it 4 days ago. So I haven't worn it out yet. Maybe it's a little warm for right now, but I made it from Katia Cotton Cashmere, which is a Spanish yarn. I think it's 90% cotton, 10% cashmere. Beautiful to knit, just beautiful. I actually have an extra ball that I might trade in for another color at my local. And then maybe, I was thinking some socks would be really nice in this because I have like little extras here and there from another project I did in this. And so I think I might do that. But she's just put out the pattern. Go and have a look because there are some really great versions. I think there are 14 versions, people of different shapes and sizes. Okay, most of them are slim people, I'm not gonna lie, but there's lots of versions. So go have a look. And then also she has put in 3 different possibilities. So you can do the off the shoulder, multiple. So there's off the shoulder, cropped or long, short sleeves or long sleeved. And then there's a beautiful scalloped edge in crochet that I didn't do mostly because I was running out of time. But she's put up a tutorial on her Instagram of how to do this super sweet scalloped crocheted edge. And I think I might add that because as it is, it does feel like maybe I needed just a tiny bit more to hike it up a little bit. Although I think in the pictures, it doesn't look like that. I don't know. Let me know. Do you think I should add the crochet edge just for prettiness, or do you think it also needs a little more coverage? I don't know. But you have that. Then she's done a tube top version. Then she's also done a version with little straps, which is very different, I think, from the original pattern. She could almost release it as a different pattern, but she's put them all together. So head over there and have a look. It was definitely a fun experience to work on. And you know, the whole all over pattern thing is something I haven't done before on a full garment. And the only thing I will say is that it did make my hands tired. So I took maybe longer than I needed for the test because I could only do sort of, well, initially I was doing a ton. And then of course what happens is I fall into a knit hole and I can't climb out. And so I just knit and knit and knit and knit and knit. And eventually my hands and my wrists say no. And then I have to take a little break. So after that, I would say that I started to work on it in smaller batches. And the braid stitch that she does to create this pattern only happens every other row. So I would kind of like get through one braid stitch row and then I would have like another row that was really easy and really fast. So that's the only thing, is that if you tend to have a problem with pain with like a lot of texture, this might not be the one for you. But at the same time, if you're willing to take it slow like I did, then it's totally, totally worth it. Okay, that's 3 garments. The last thing I have that's finished is my Rowan bag. So if you remember, I got a pamphlet, you know, of 4 patterns from Las Tijeras Mágicas, and this bag was in it. Now in the pattern, the bag is like this much longer, and I just did not want to make it that long, but let me show you the stitch. It's really cute. It did not take too long to do. You were supposed to mattress stitch the sides, and I couldn't be bothered. I literally just put it together and went in and out all the way down. I don't think you can notice. I got these wooden handles on Amazon, and then I turned it in and I picked up stitches along the inside to finish that. And then I actually super glued. I put super glue on the inside because I tried using it for about a week and the handles would turn around and they wouldn't just stay nice and pretty. And so I thought, okay, I'm just gonna glue it. The other thing I did, of course, was I added a hand stitch lining. Now I made the lining, well, I have a video which not many people have looked at yet. So if you wouldn't mind going over and looking at it, I'd love that because it was a lot of work to make. I did a video on how to line a crochet bag, and this is good for crochet, knitting, any of those things, even a bag that's maybe like a knit fabric on the outside and you just want to stabilize it. And so I cut this from just some, muslin fabric. And then I folded it in, I attached it, sorry, I'm not explaining this well. I created a pattern, I cut it out in muslin. I used my machine to sew it up and add French seams. Then I put one inside the other and I hand sewed it all the way around. And I use this every day. And I'm so impressed that my hand sewing has held up and that it's like, sometimes I'll be sitting at like a cafe and I'll just go like this. I'll be like, because I just love this like clean edge, and I love how it's like just inside the first row of stitching. Oh, the things that make us happy as makers. Anyway, please do go over and have a look at that video. I would really appreciate it, but very much enjoying this bag, and you'll already see I have 2 more bags on the go. Okay, that is all my finished objects. Now, I was trying to see how long it's been, but I can't even see that. Okay, now on to my whips, and maybe I'll go in order from oldest to newest. Okay, so I had this lovely neat pile, and I've just made a huge tangled mess out of it, which is typical. Let's see if I can extricate it. So I was at the shop in Villanova, which is one town over, and they have a beautiful yarn shop. I'll put in a few, like a little cutaway. And I was there with my knitting friends one afternoon, lovely place to sit and knit. And they had this beautiful bamboo yarn. Like, look at the color. I don't know if the shine is coming across. This is from a Catalonian yarn company called camisole, and they have lots and lots of beautiful yarns. So it's made right here in Catalonia, which is awesome. And this color just got me. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna make. I'm just gonna buy one. And so I just got one ball, and I looked up different things. I just wanted a very plain tank top to go with this. And so I came across the Pretty in Pleats by Andrea Yetman. And this is while I was waiting for yarn for another project, I can't remember. And so I didn't really have anything on the go, hence it being my latest, yes, hence it being my oldest whip. And so I thought, okay, I'm just gonna start something. And the nice thing is it's basically just knitting in the round, right? I decided to do a rolled hem rather than doing ribbing. And then it was mostly just knitting around. I'm now ready to split for the top, but can you see, I know it's a little bit crinkled right now, but can you just see like the drape on this and the color and the shine? Like, and it just feels, it's so, I would say it feels like silk, but I have something that's silk coming up, and this actually feels silkier. Like it feels smoother and softer. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to, honestly, I'm now, all of a sudden it just came in my head, I'm kind of tempted to turn this into a tube top. Stay tuned. I don't know. So there's that. Then I got into my crochet era, as my child would say, and I fell in love with this bag. And I think I showed it. Did I show it on my crochet patterns crochet patterns video? I think I did. And it is called, back to my list, the Sitara Bag by Iswoolish. And I would suggest going over to her Ravelry page because she's got some really cool bag patterns, really, really cool. And one of the reasons why I decided to, well, first of all, it immediately struck me. And I bought it intending for my 16-year-old to make it for me because Audrey is an excellent crocheter. She taught herself during lockdown and has made herself tops, and mostly tops that she's made herself. And so I was like, okay, I'll get her to crochet it for me. And she was like, yeah, okay, I can do that. And then I bought the pattern. I was waiting for the raffia, the yarn. And that's when I learned to crochet. And so I just kind of jumped in and started it, as you'll see. So this is, I wish I had the other one, but this is the Rafaela from Hobby. And it's very easy for me to order from Hobby here. They didn't have like the beigey color that she uses for the pattern because she used this pattern, brand to make this bag. And it says it needs 2.5 to 3. I'm still on the first. Oh no, that's not true. I'm on the second one. And I can't imagine I'm gonna need to break into the third, but we'll see. So without getting into too much detail, you have this, wait, which is the right way? This is the right way. So you have this pattern that you're just repeating over and over again. And it needs to be, I don't remember exactly, I wanna say like 1.20 meters long or something like that. And you know, gauge is a thing, and my gauge, I thought my gauge was okay. And so I did the number of rows that she said, and crocheting raffia, not fun, not pleasant. This is definitely like, I want the bag more than I want to be doing this. But I did the number, like the number of rows, and it was not nearly long enough, like about 2/3 the length it was supposed to be. So I put it down for a few days because I was like, I can't believe I'm gonna have to do so much more. And like every time I have to count and make sure that I haven't added any crochets. And I also, it's not quite as wide as it should be. I want to say it's maybe off by about 1 inch, the width. So you do what's the word? Steam it after it's done. So maybe it will open up a little bit with the steam, but what I'm trying to do is like really stretch it and then measure it after it's stretched, rather than like stretching it this way to get the length. I'd rather put in an extra couple rows and get a bigger, deeper bag. So I haven't picked this up since my test knits, plural, because I have another one that you're gonna see in a second. But since I started the Juno top, I think I've only picked this up once because I needed to get things done on a deadline. But I'm really excited to go back to this now. I should be able to do, I think the next part is going to be a lot easier. I don't remember, you know what? I'll link below the video because she does do a full video tutorial. It just doesn't have the numbers in it, but there's a free video tutorial on YouTube so you can see how it comes together. But basically it kind of like folds over onto each other like this, and then you crochet around the edges. And anyway, I'm not going to explain it well, but picture how pretty. Can't wait. Can't wait. Then I started, when I ordered the Rafaela from Hobby, I threw in a couple of I think they were €1, maybe even less than €1 balls of worsted weight cotton so that I could try just some more crochet things without, having to use up nice yarn that I already have. Tangle, tangle, tangle. Hello. So I got, I think, 5 or 6 different colors. And if you remember this bag, as I continue to untangle, that I put in my crochet patterns video. This is a free pattern, again, with a full video tutorial step-by-step. You literally could make this bag having never made anything crochet before. I really believe that. And that's what I've been doing. I literally will rewind and then just follow her over and over again and then follow her over and over again. So I am most of the way through the first hexagon. Is that what this is? Yeah, hexagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hexagon. The only thing is that this is definitely bigger than the other one, and I definitely am going to run out of yarn. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I have enough to do the 3. You need 3, you need 2 hexagons like this, and then a square on the bottom, and then you join them all together. And so I think what it's going to be is I'm going to finish this. I'm going to use whatever gray I have left, because of course gray is the least one, and I'm going to see if I can just finish all the rest of it in gray. And if not, then I'll either find some more in town. I mean, this is just basic cotton. I'm sure I can find something Katya in town without having to reorder. But really, it was more just a test, just to try something out, to learn, to play. It's, I'm gonna to have the bag. I could see the girls using it as a beach bag or whatever, but more it was about, this was about passion for the product. And this was more learning and play and learning, getting to know a new hobby. Yeah, so that's the Tobago Bag by Tony Lipsy. Yeah, the Tobago Bag by Tony Lipsy, and it's on that one is actually not on my project page, but I will add it before I post this, so it will be there. But you can also, like I said, I paid for the PDF version. So on the PDF version, it costs you, let's see here, it costs $5. Had I realized it was free on her blog, I probably wouldn't have paid the $5, but at the same time, she does a beautiful job. She's put a lot of work into the patterns. I'm so happy to have found her as a resource. So $5 well spent, so you can, make your own decision. Okay, so next is the Corin Cardigan by Rebecca Clow, and I'm sure you guys know the Crayabea. She has an amazing podcast. I will link her below just in case you haven't somehow come across it. And the Corin Cardigan is something that came out a couple months ago. It was super popular, and I didn't initially think of it as something that I really wanted to do, just because at the time I had never done all over texture. And that really worried me that it was going to be fatiguing for my hands. But now that I've kind of gotten into it, and this pattern is much less fatiguing than, a constant rib. This one is, does not, and also it's on much larger needles, etc. But when I saw the one by Francesca of an Italian knitter, I think I might have told you, this is now ringing a bell. So maybe I did tell you about this, but you haven't seen it recently. I decided to do one for Audrey as a beach cover-up. So she just wants it to her waist to wear, if she's wearing shorts and her bathing suit top, and then she can have it over top kind of thing. So I've done it in this lilac color. It's Drops Muscat, so very reasonably priced yarn. I have now split, and I am doing the left front or the right front, whichever this one is. So I'm fairly close to finishing that. And then I will do the other side, and then you go up the back. So you can kind of see, now you might notice that there's this line here, and I think I mentioned last time that I kind of got this far and realized I had messed up the texture, and rather than ripping back, which I couldn't bear to do, I just put a purl line and I'm calling it an extended border. I don't think anyone's gonna know. But after that, I think I'm good. I think it's the pattern, the texture is there and it's good. It's very light, it's very easy. I last worked on this a couple of days ago, so I do need to get back to it because I was hoping to finish it by the time Audrey was finished school, and that's already come and went. So yeah, I'm gonna, now that I have one test knit to finish, and then I can kind of get back to some of these other projects. Okay, so lastly is a test knit that came to my inbox and I could not resist. If you guys follow the podcast Kika, and if you don't, you should, because she's an amazing knitwear designer and knitter in Finland. She is Swedish, but she lives in Finland, I think is what it is. If you have not seen the video where she knits her wedding dress, designs and knits her wedding dress from Knitting for Olive Pure Silk, it's the most amazing video. And she documents the entire process from beginning to end. The dress is stunning. It's just the most amazing video. So I'm gonna link it below because really you should go over and see that. So she's had a book come out recently and she's very, very popular. Anyway, sometimes she does a lot of more oversized stuff that's not as much my style, but this came through for the Sailor Swift top, and immediately I was like, oh yes, that's totally me. Something to like cover the chest, but also has stripes, which I love. And so I immediately applied and I was accepted, and I decided to do it in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk, similar to her wedding dress. And I did it because I already had it on hand, and it was one of those things, like a beautiful piece of fabric that you just don't want to break into. And actually, I think that it's almost easier with wool, because if you don't like something, you can always frog it and make it into something else, which I've done on multiple occasions. With fabric, if you cut into it and then you don't like it, you've really limited your options. So I was gonna do the Kutar top from Sari Nordland with my Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the lighter color. I think it's Stone or Putty, I'll find it. And I was going to do that. And then I was kind of out of the wanting to do lace. And when I saw this, I thought, you know, this will be a really, really good use for it. And I already had the black on hand to do the Milady's dress. And actually, I ended up getting the Milady's dress as a thank you for the test that I just did for Inés Oliveira, which is Vert Knit. Sorry, a lot of ums today, but I'm just trying to get a lot of things out, so bear with me. So I now have that pattern. I can make that pattern, but I'm gonna have to get more of the black because I used the black. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you. I am probably about somewhere between 2/3 and 3/4 of the way finished this project. It's due July 7th, so I do have about a week to finish it. Oh, I love this. I love this. I took a picture this morning. I'll put in a picture, but it's gonna be very cropped because it's like my belly and like, it was not meant for public viewing, but I will put a small thing so you can just kind of see. But it's the first time that I've actually put on a garment made with silk, pure silk. I mean, other than a sewn garment, I mean a knitted garment. It's glorious. I like only want to wear this ever again. It's so nice. I've heard it stretches. I guess we'll see. I've done the I-cord edging. So it's not an I-cord bind off because you bind, it's the cast on edge. So you pick up and then do the I-cord edging. And this is so interesting because there's halfway through this I-cord edging, there's a purl row, which I've never seen an I-cord edging with a purl row before. Tell me if you know if that's unusual or not. It seemed unusual to me. But I guess I've only ever done I-cord bind-offs with Stephen West, so maybe it's different on a shawl than on a garment, but it fits really nicely. It lays nice and flat. I have to now do it for the armholes. Now, you see how deep this armhole was? This neckline was quite deep as well, and then after I did the I-cord bind-off edging, it really pulled it up, so I'm not as worried about that anymore. And then I have about another 10 centimeters of length to do, but it's really nice. I'll show you the jog. She gives you the jogless stripe formula. They're all right. I'm sure when they when it blocks, it'll be fine. And actually, it really doesn't bother me. Here's the yarn. This is the putty stone, and then that's the black. I love knitting with this. I don't find it hard on my hands at all. I know it doesn't have stretch, but I love knitting with it. Now what I've done is, oh, I just dropped a stitch. Stop, wait. I can pick it up later, but let's just get it so it's not going any further. There we go. I started off with bamboo needles. And then once I joined in the round, I felt like the bamboo needles are great for the knitting side, the side that you are knitting with, but not as good for pushing along to, you know, push the stitches along. So right now I'm using the bamboo one on the right to make the stitches, and I have a metal one on the left to move along the stitches. And that's working really well. I actually find the slight squeak across the bamboo really satisfying. And I'm really, you know, I think I'm getting a pretty even stitch, pretty even gauge. Now I'm doing this at a much larger, not a larger gauge, but larger needles. So I think she recommended, hang on a second. She recommended 2.75 or 2.5, and I'm doing them on 3.5. So I'm a full millimeter bigger, but I am getting gauge, more or less. I might be like half a stitch off. The quality of the fabric is what I like, and when I tried it on, it's, you know, it's not too dense and not too loose. So I'm really happy with this. This is another one that, yes, I'm enjoying the process, but I can't wait to wear this. I bought some black washed linen to make some flowy black pants. And yeah, that will be coming up on the next sewing channel. Well, the next sewing video on the channel soon. Okay, that's it. That is a lot that I've done, I think, in 2 months, but everything that I've made, I've been really happy with. I did frog one thing, now that I think about it. If you remember last time I showed you the Joni top by Natasha Hornby that I was doing in the Ito silk, I frogged that. And the reason why I frogged it is because once I was looking closer at a lot of the finished products, I noticed that it does not come down very far under the arms. And there was sort of this shape that was happening here that I was like, I don't know that I love that. And I was very much stuck once we started the lace panel in the front. And I just thought, you know what? I actually don't want this. And I'm not saying I won't ever knit it. I did buy it. It's just, I automatically went, I don't think I want to make this right now. So I've frogged it. I have my big ball of silk. I may need to go get myself one more ball of it because it is going up in price pretty soon. But I also might just do a really easy, simple tank, you know, or cami or something with it. Or I could, now the only thing of course is I've wound it now double into a ball. So to separate it, oh my gosh, I've done that. I've had to do that a few times and it is a nightmare. It seems like it should be just simple to just do this, but it's not. Because when you do that, everything further down just gets more twisted and so it's an absolute nightmare. So whatever it is, I'm gonna hold it double so that I don't have to deal with that. Okay, that is all for me. If you guys enjoy knitting and sewing, it would mean so much to me if you would give this video a like, if you would subscribe, if you would perhaps share my video with other knitters. I'm still not new, but like I still feel like I don't have a real foothold in the knitting community, and I would love to be able to share with more knitters. Okay guys, that's all for me. I hope that wherever you are, the sun is shining and you are knitting or crocheting or sewing or doing whatever makes your crafty heart happy, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.